Hey, welcome to Everyday Economics, the podcast helps you learn about the economic world happening around you every day. I'm your host, Chris Krug, CEO of the 501c3 nonprofit, nonpartisan Franklin News Foundation. Everyday Economics, production of America's Talking Network. You can listen to all of our podcasts at americastalking.com. To support Everyday Economics, please make a tax-deductible charitable contribution by clicking the link in the show description. We're recording this episode on Friday, November 15th, and joining me as always, a very well-attired Dr. Orphe Divounguy, who's given me a lot of grief about my Doolittle's Raiders sweatshirt worn in honor of Veterans Day.
I love your sweatshirt. I love your sweatshirt.
Appreciate
yeah, I mean, look.
Let's talk about what's ahead. You know, your column every Monday at the Center Square kind of pulls out the best of what's to come. There's a lot that went on this week that I think sets context for what's to come. So why don't we get into that?
Yeah. So we got a couple of surprises maybe this week. We got basically an inflation report that showed up kind of, as expected, but moving higher. We got retail sales this morning basically showing some strength, right? Also topping estimates. We got initial claims coming down, showing the labor market remains pretty solid. And the market is now, the probability of a Fed rate cut in December is now just a coin flip, right? So we went from, people saying, hey, we're going to get a rate cut, market pricing it in, to, oh, now it's just 55% or so. And so all of these developments just show that the consumer is pretty strong, and that core inflation, right? The consumer is still spending. That perhaps the fear that we're maybe slowing down too fast has somewhat completely evaporated, and that maybe the Fed will just cut more slowly. I see a potential pause in December. I think the Fed chair, even himself yesterday, alluded to it. He mentioned in a speech that the Fed was in no hurry to cut, right? And so perhaps we get a rate cut, and we skip a cut in December, maybe even skip one in January, and then kind of wait and see where the data comes in. Next week, we're going to get some housing data. And the housing data is likely to reflect something similar, right? We had last month, things are slowing down, but they're not slowing down as fast as they normally would for this time of the year. Right?
Yeah.
You still have somewhat some activity. Why? Well, compared to last year, mortgage rates are actually still lower. They're above 7%, but last year we peaked at 8% in October.
Right.
And so although this time of year activity slows down, activity hasn't slowed down as much as usual for this time of year. So it's going to show up in sales next week. I expect builders' new home sales to continue to move higher at a slower pace, but continue to move higher. Existing home sales are likely to continue to decrease. However, decreasing less at a slower pace, and maybe finishing the year a little bit better than last year.
Let me ask you something real quick. What are inventories looking like in the housing market? I know we're going to be talking about housing probably, in the next couple of podcasts in one way.
Inventories roughly is up roughly 19% relative to a year ago.
Okay,
right, but that's come down from 22% a month ago. Right.
Okay.
Right. And so this is probably a little bit of pressure on the demand side, people jumping in, realizing, hey, rates are not going any lower. If I delay them, there's no point in delaying too much more. And so I just jump in and get things moving. The month of October is usually kind of the last hurrah, right? It's like you go in, you try to sell your home. If your home doesn't sell, you delist. And then you wait until the spring. So yes, in October data that's coming this week is likely going to show a little bit more strength than we had than we were expecting.
Yeah. So the data in the week to come, we're going to get housing starts, building permits. We're also going to get existing home sales this week.
That's right.
I mean, what are you looking for in that data?
Yeah, I think existing home sales are going to come in a little bit higher than expected.
Okay.
Because I think we're going to finish the year maybe a little bit higher than last year. Also, by the way, the typical mortgage payment in October was down 9% when compared to last year. And so there's been a significant improvement in affordability compared to a year ago, right? Because we had this surge in rates this time last year.
Right.
So I expect a little bit stronger than expected. The permits data is probably going to come in softer. And the reason I say that is because we have definitely on the multifamily side, we still have a lot of units that are coming online. Multifamily starts are dropping, probably going to continue dropping for a while, which of course means that completions will be much lower next year. On the single family side, we have some single family homes started much higher than before the pandemic, slowed down a little bit, but higher than before the pandemic. And with the rebound in interest rates, you expect builder sentiment to decline a little bit. You expect new projects to decline a little bit. But new home sales should be pretty strong because builders already had all of this inventory.
Well, I appreciate Dr. O. Anything else to look forward to in the week ahead?
No, I think that sums it up. I think that's the big stuff that we're going to be paying attention to. Of course, there's going to be a couple of Fed speeches. We're going to get some initial unemployment claims again. And so we'll be paying attention to that. We also have consumer sentiment, I think, on Friday next week, at the end of the week. So, yeah,
we're going to have an opportunity. We're going to have an opportunity in the next couple episodes to talk about the market a little bit and just some things that we're seeing. But we can call it good right there. Thanks again, Dr. O. For Orphe Divounguy, this has been Chris Krug. Subscribe to Everyday Economics and all kinds of fantastic podcasts at America's Talking.